All right, there have been some decent changes to Unlink Finder over the last couple weeks, so I wanted to recreate this tutorial video, kind of walking through some of the new features for Unlink Finder. So Unlink Finder is a Roam plugin that will enable you to find outbound unlinked references. So places where you have referenced a page in your graph, but you have not yet created a link. So pretty simply, basic usage here is going to be if you have a page which mentions some other pages that are not yet linked, it will highlight those and show them to you. So I'm going to click this little X-shaped button in the menu bar up here. When I click that, you'll notice some of the text changes colors and identifies which type of link that it is. So I have a little legend here in the top that tells me what kind of link each of these are, and I'll walk through each of these as well. So basic usage, you click it, you're going to notice that you've got some things that get highlighted. If I click into this block, I do some editing, click out of it, it's going to pop back up, re-add my linked or my missing reference here. So this is pretty basic. It just tells you, hey, you have a link to a page called Roam Research that is not yet created. So I could create this link, and it would then link out to that Roam Research page. A couple of things. These green matches are exact matches. They're case sensitive, so it has to match exactly what the name of the page is. So if let's see, I have a page there for Roam Research. That's why that one's highlighted there as expected. So a couple of other types of matches as well. So alias matches, these are actually use the aliases attribute, which has been defined by David Vargas in his alias extension on roamjs.com. And so if you have any pages with this aliases attribute, it will go ahead and highlight those as a potential alias. So here's an embedded page that I've got for Spanish. You can see I've got an attribute here, aliases for Espanol. And if I hover over this Espanol here, it shows me the name of the actual page is Spanish. And so two types of links that have tooltips, aliases, as well as fuzzy matches, both have tooltips for the actual page name. You can customize the way the tooltip works, and there's also, you have to add some CSS, which is outlined in the documentation, which I'll show here in a moment. Fuzzy matches. So fuzzy matches are where you have essentially a case-insensitive match. So if Roam Research is, capital R's, and I have it typed in with lowercase, it's going to show up as a fuzzy match. It's not exact. So those will show up and are labeled differently. Again, easy to go in and customize if you want those fuzzy matches to look the same as exact matches. Partial matches, these are going to be any time where you have a word that is kind of only a subset of the entire word. So you'll see this page that I'm working on right now is called testing page. This has testing pages, so it's only my match is only a subset of the complete word. And so you'll notice that those show up in gray. You see a couple of those down here too, right? I have a page called link. Linked shows up as a partial match. A page for question shows up as question instead of being an exact match or a fuzzy match. Redundant matches, these are where you have the block will have already inherited that tag, so you don't need to re-tag it. So you can see I've tagged to Roam Research here. I've linked to Roam Research in the parent block. The child block does not need another Roam Research tag. It inherits the Roam Research tag by nature of being a child. So those will show up in red. Most of the time, you probably just want to make those transparent. They're red by default, but you can go in and change the CSS to make those transparent if you don't even want to see them at all. Something new that's been added just in the last few days after the Write API was created is this click to link functionality. So click to link is going to give you two options. You can click to link as a reference, or you can click to link as an alias. So pretty much the way that this works is you're going to right click. It kind of overrides the context menu. So if you right click somewhere else, you see a normal context menu, right? That pops up here. If you click on an option that has been identified from Unlink Finder, you right click, it's going to show you link using reference or link using alias. So this is a fuzzy match. So I probably will go ahead and just link this as an alias. I click that. Now you can see it's linked to the page as an alias. So if I click in here, there's an alias link, hover over top of it, I see my tooltip as expected. You can also go ahead and link as reference on any of these. So like here's an example for Rome Research. I can click link as reference. It'll go ahead and do that exactly as you'd expect. And it will also change the text if you link as reference and it is not an exact match. So just something to be wary of. Maybe a good example would be something like documentation down here. Documentation is actually a page with a capital letter at the beginning of the word. So if I right click on here and I link as reference, it's going to change that obviously to be the exact page title. So just something to be careful of. If you want it to look exactly as you had written it, link as alias is probably the way that you want to go. Last bit here, there is some configuration options for Unlink Finder. So you have to create a page called Unlink Finder, and then on that page you can create 2 different attributes that will change the way that the system works. So if you create an attribute called minimum characters, you can put in a number of minimum characters if a word is shorter than your minimum characters. So it's less than. So I'm saying here I only want matches that are 4 or more characters. Right, so you can see like the word link matches because it's 4 or more characters. If I changed this to be something larger than 4, then link would not show up, right? Because that's only 4 characters long. As well as for alias case sensitivity. So alias matches will by default match case insensitive. So I can do something such as if I type in here like put Espanol with a lowercase e, even though my alias is an uppercase e, it will still match. If I change this case sensitivity for alias to be yes, this would not match anymore. It would show as it would not show as a match. So a couple of configuration things that you can do there as well. There is some documentation in the public database for this. So if you go to the Tyler Wentz public graph, this is where the documentation lives. So you go to the Unlink Finder page. This is the demo video that's going to replace what's here currently. And then there's some information about install. So if you want to install this, copy paste this entire block, and you can put that on in your graph and click, that yes, you know what you're doing. And if you want the tooltips to work, this will work without the tooltips, but if you want the tooltips to work, then you can copy and paste this CSS onto your Rome CSS page, and the tooltips will begin to work. And you can customize them if you want them to look different than what you see as kind of the basic default. Some information about the configuration is here, and then also some details about exactly how it works, as I've kind of explained in this video, and some details about each of the different match types. There's also some stuff here about the classes that are created. So Unlink Finder creates subspans in the DOM, so you are able to go in and customize these matches to look exactly as you'd like to. So if you come in, you can see exact word match is going to have this specific class. It's also going to have an Unlink Finder class, and so you can see kind of how you might be able to customize these. And then if you want to change the styling, there's a couple of examples here. So you can come in and just copy and paste this and change the background, or if you don't want it to be background, you want it to be underlined, or whatever else you might want. And then here's an example of if you use the dark themes, or your system has kind of a dark mode, then how you can change it to have one scheme during light mode and one scheme during dark mode. Let me know if you have questions. This is still in development, and if you find bugs, let me know. You can reach out to me on the Rome Research Slack or on Twitter. Otherwise, hope that this is useful. Thanks.